These are the two most popular trolling motor plug and receptacle kits today. This is the battery tender trolling motor plug, and this is the Marinco 12 VCPS3 kit. We're going to show you the good and the bad of both to help you decide which is best for your boat and trolling motor installation, along with general tips on how to do the perfect trolling motor install. Here today on Eric's Tech Talks. The battery tender trolling motor plug is a two-conductor connection. The contacts themselves are made out of solid copper and that are silver plated, so they're good up to 80 amps. The other thing that this receptacle comes with is a silicone rubber gasket that protects the receptacle from getting water into it when the plug's not there. And from a mounting perspective, what you need to do is you need to cut out a rectangular hole, and the rubber lid makes a good template for doing that. The finishing screws that you're going to need in terms of a flathead stainless steel screw in order to mount this is not included in the package, so you're going to need whatever depth makes sense, either in a machine screw or wood screw if it's self-tapping, and those we'd recommend as being either stainless steel or brass. The connections on the battery tender trolling motor plug are 1/4-inch posts with nuts and lock washers that they include. Now, that means that any of the wiring that you're going to use with this trolling motor plug or with the receptacle itself need to have proper lugs put on them. On our website, we've got cable sets specifically made for this plug, and also not only for this plug but for some models of Minn Kota trolling motor specifically as well, to actually give better power transfer. So again, up to 6 gauge goes on these. If you do it yourself, be very, very careful. Soldering will generally create problems through vibration and stuff like that. Crimping is what the lug manufacturers all recommend. Now, the other thing that we like about these, this trolling motor plug, is that the polarity is always marked. So on the receptacle side you've got plus and minus, and you've also got that on the plug side as well. And the other thing that you'll notice if you look really, really closely is Underwriters has recognized the materials that are in this product. Gives you a little bit more comfort on safety and so forth. And so from an assembly perspective, something else they've done that we really, really like is there's only one way that you can put things back together again. So on the top part you'll notice that there's this little notch that's there. That just prevents you from accidentally putting things backwards into it. So once you put these two sides together, and after you've obviously attached your wires, a couple of good things happen. First is that your wiring comes out naturally downwards. That means that you're going to form a natural drip loop, so that any condensation or moisture or splashing that comes onto that wire is going to go down rather than up and not into the connector itself, which is going to save you grief in the long run. The other thing that we really like about this connector, and it's probably the #1 selling feature of the connector itself, is when you install the plug into the receptacle, you'll see that there's sort of a very good solid sort of notching twist on that now you know that that's not going to vibrate out no matter what you're in, and it just keeps everything together and seals everything out and so on and so forth. That's about it. The plug side of this connection basically is taken apart with 5 screws. There's 3 that are in the front, and there's 2 that are holding the cable restraint at the back. One thing you do want to watch is that little notch right there. When you're reassembling everything, it has to line up with that arrow. The Marinco 12 VCPS3 uses what we describe as a crushing ferrule connection system. This is something that's worth mentioning because it provides a very good connection with standard tools. You definitely do not want to have a soldering iron when you're using this thing. So what happens is you take one of the ferrules that's provided, and you basically put it inside the connector that you're going to be working on, and you put your wire in the middle of that ferrule, and now what you do is you tighten down these 2 Allen screws until it distorts the ferrule around the stranded wire. So it's important that you never use solder with these. As a matter of fact, if you try soldering it as part of trying to get a better connection, you'll actually do the exact opposite, and you'll wind up with an intermittent connection or one that can't handle the current that you're looking for. This is one of the main selling features, I think, of this connector is its connection system. It's about as good as anything you're going to get for a connection that you can do high current without tools. So with that, I'm going to show you how the plug works. I mean, basically on the receptacle side, there's markings for plus and minus if you're just using it for two conductor, but there's also labeling on the pins 1, 2, 3 if you're using either two different voltages or if you're using it for multiple devices, or maybe you're trying to do some charging setup from the front of your boat when you're driving. It supports all of that. Lastly, the one thing that I will say is that this connector is not at all like the twist lock Marinco connectors that you might be familiar with. Those very rarely are being used now. They had lots of corrosion issues, and in general we don't recommend them. The plug side of this connector is all accessed through two screws at the very back. I'll just loosen those off and then we'll get into it. Once you take the cable restraint off, the first thing you're going to notice is you're going to notice this rubber dam membrane. This is a little frustrating to deal with, but the good news is that when you push your wire in there and you pull this out of the seating arrangement that it's got, if you look really, really closely, you'll see that these two semicircles that are at the top and the bottom of the connector can actually be removed. If you take a very tiny screwdriver and you pry them up very, very gently, you can actually get those off. So inside the plug is a similar connection system to what we already described that the receptacle has. Again, you drop the ferrule in here, tighten down the screws once you've got your wire in place, and they will do an extremely good job of making a good connection for you between the wire and the plug itself. Now, when you're reassembling the connector, there is a little bit of a trick. If you look on the face of it, there's an arrow that's on the front. That should line up with the arrow that's on the connector body. Otherwise, you're going to spend a whole bunch of time trying to figure out why things don't line up. And again, when you're doing the final assembly and your wires, or you're pulling them through this rubber membrane, make sure that that rubber membrane is properly seated back here, because if you install this correctly, it actually will make the connector much more waterproof, especially anything that's coming in from behind the connector. But give me just a sec here and we'll talk about some other things that you should do when you're putting trolling motor connections in general. Last thing that's worth mentioning is this plug and this receptacle will accept up to 4-gauge wire. So that's a pretty decent size. It gives you a range of either 6, 8, or 4. Something else that we really like is there's actually instructions that come with this. And one of the things that they'll mention in there is don't solder anything, which is what we talked about here earlier. From a fit perspective, what holds this connection in place into the receptacle is essentially a combination of friction and an O-ring. So those are relatively tight tolerance parts. The O-ring is replaceable if it ever wears out or that kind of thing. And in using this myself, I found that although this doesn't look as secure as maybe the other types of connections you've seen, it seems to hold up pretty well in the water. Last but not least, the one thing that you do want to watch when you're installing this is make sure that you've got enough wire left coming out of your trolling motor that when it comes out of the plug it goes downwards. If you have trolling motor wire going upwards, all that's going to happen is the water is going to follow that right into the connection and maybe even get past that rubber membrane. Before we talk about the differences in between these connectors, let's talk about the similarities. There's a requirement for a flat surface for either one of these. You can't have an inside radius where you're mounting this or anything like that. They won't allow you to do that. The other thing that's similar between the two of them is they both have a sort of rubber cover for the receptacle when the plug is not in the boat, so that keeps the water out. The third thing is neither one of these actually is waterproof. Waterproof means that you can immerse something in water and water doesn't get where you don't want it. So the battery tender has only got one issue with that, and that is if you sort of mount this receptacle and plug in such a position where maybe there's a casting deck or something in your boat, and now this plug is only a couple inches above that casting deck and water gets on there and splashes around, it's going to get where it shouldn't get. But that's the only place where I've seen this connector fail. In all other applications where there's, a couple feet of wire that comes out the bottom before it goes into your trolling motor, it's going to be a hard connector to beat. The differences in these connectors start with the contacts. There's a reason why this battery tender is an 80 amp connection, because it's got solid copper and silver in its conductors, whereas the Marinco is brass material and covered with nickel. So both resist corrosion really, really well. And again, I'll say that I've got one of these and I've had it for a couple of years in a Power Drive 55 and it's worked just fine and I'm happy with it. So the current is probably more applicable to guys that are running higher power systems. So if you have like a trolling motor that is off the lower leg of your boat, or if you've got something that's really large, over 100 pounds thrust, it might be worthwhile looking into the extra money that's required for the battery tender, because when I start talking about using a battery tender, the one thing that I would really ask everybody to do is to get your cables, your wires with proper lugs installed by somebody that has a proper crimp tool. If you go out and try and solder your own wires together, or if you hit your lugs with a hammer, or you do something like that, you're really not going to get the benefit of what this plug can give you for performance. So get proper cables, properly terminated with high pressure crimp lugs on them, and then you'll get what you paid for here. I think that in terms of durability, the battery tender, probably 10 years anyways. I'll have to see. I haven't seen it yet with the Marinco, that little rubber O-ring, although it can be replaced. It's a little bit of maintenance, but it's not the end of the world. So the seating. So this twist lock arrangement I really like on the battery tender. Obviously when you've got that plug in there and you've turned it on, it's pretty obvious. But again, with the one that the Marinco that I've got in my boat, I've hit waves just the same as everybody else. I've never had a problem with it falling out. So there's that to be considered too. The thing that is worth mentioning is if you are running a 12-volt system, that means this connector can handle 70 amps, and that basically puts it in the market for any trolling motor out there that's a 12-volt trolling motor. And the benefit of this guy is that on the receptacle side, right out of the box, you can take a 4-gauge wire and you can run it inside this receptacle. So now, say you've got a boat that has a 12-volt trolling motor on it, and you're starting to get upwards of 15, maybe 20 feet distance between the trolling motor and the batteries in the back of the boat. Now the Marinco, you can run 4-gauge wire very easily, and you just get stripped wire, and you can, with sort of the average guy's tools, have a reasonably good chance of getting a good solid connection inside that receptacle. So if there's one benefit that the Marinco has, and it's something that I really like, is the way that they've handled making a connection inside both the plug and in the receptacle. That what's called the distorting ferrule is absolute magic in my mind. Assuming that you read the directions and you install it the way that it's supposed to be read, I don't know anybody that can really mess it up. Whereas over here, again, if you're the type of guy that likes hitting your battery lugs with hammers and stuff like that, then you're probably not going to have the same results. Last but not least is the mounting options. So if you've got a circular hole in your boat already and it's already 1 3/4 inch or less, then you can just and if you can access the back of the bulkhead, then you basically just twist the nut on and you run the wires into it and you're done. If you need to have that front faceplate on there, you can do that if you need to. And obviously there's the thing about 3 circuits. If you're running a battery charger from the front of your boat, or you're charging off your vehicle when you're driving, or maybe you've got 2 different trolling motors and each needs a different voltage, and you need 2 different voltages at the front of your boat, then you probably need the 3-pin.